y'all. Hey, welcome into our Hey, y'all. Hey radio morning show. It is a beautiful first Tuesday morning for the month of November. We're so glad that you've decided to join us today. I am Alicia from Country Mama Musings.
Well, good morning, Alicia. I'm Ann from Andale Homestead.
Good morning, everyone. Alicia and Monica. This is Casey from Ormsby Farms.
And I'm Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I'm excited to be here this Monday or this Tuesday. Look, I don't even know what day it is. This Tuesday morning. It has been a crazy couple weeks here, but the weather is beautiful here in North Texas, and I'm feeling it. I'm here for it, guys.
That is so great. It's, we have mornings where it's like, oh, yeah, winter's here. And then the next morning it's like, it's beautiful, 60 something, get out and take a walk. And then the next day it's cold again. So we're at that really weird crux of seasons where one day's warm, one day's freezing cold. And you have to take your opportunities to do things around the homestead when they come, when that weather has that little bit of break. And I think all of us have been taking advantage of that. And we're kind of running ourselves ragged like a bunch of chickens with our heads cut off.
Right.
The truth.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous in Georgia. We finally are getting the quote unquote fall weather. We had like 80s and then it dropped down to high of 40s and now we're at a steady like 70, 71 high, which is wonderful. It's beautiful. What about you, Andale?
It is very nice. And the weather, although it doesn't know what it's doing, our weather is a little confused as everyone else's. So the sniffles and the little throat thing is going on a little bit, but it does energize us. It's not so hot and it's not so cold, and it makes you feel like you need to get outside and do things.
We're all like Goldilocks. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right.
That's right.
Right.
It's my favorite time of year.
There you go.
I actually, we had discussed before. I don't recall if it was during the radio show or on a podcast, but I didn't have any garlic in the ground yet. I think this is a couple weeks ago, and I promised you guys I was going to go get some garlic from my neighbor friend and get that in the ground. So I contacted her. I did.
Remember.
I wrote her right away, and I said, "Hey, girl, I need some garlic." And she's like, "I'm out of town."
Oh,
And
goodness.
she suggested I get it from somewhere else. I was like, "No, I'm loyal to her." So I waited for her to come back. I picked up 3 big, beautiful heads of music garlic yesterday. When we're all done today, I'm going to go down and clear my raised garden bed that's just right outside my living room window. Get my dibbler out. I'm going to plant them a little deeper than usual because they are in a raised garden bed. Then I'm going to cover them with a bunch of organic leaves and wood chips. And I'm going to get my garlic in the ground today. Today's the perfect day when we're in between hot
It
and
is.
cold. It's the perfect time to get your garlic in the ground. What do you guys
Yeah.
have your garlic in?
You make me feel better.
No.
Alicia, I don't have mine in either, or
Me
my
neither.
onions.
Casey,
Oh,
is it time? Is it time for us?
it is. It is. It's time.
See, I am so bad, and I talked about this on my live last night that I had all the intention in the past couple of months to get my beds ready to put in garlic and put in onions and that kind of stuff. And listen, life happened and
Yeah.
they're not ready. So it may be early spring that I'm putting mine in. Honestly.
But we
I
can
don't know
still
if
do
that's
it. But we can
yes.
still do it here, right? I need to
Yeah.
go check my
Yes.
calendar.
Oh yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think we do it all through November
Okay,
because
good.
we don't get super cold, but it's
Yes. You
yes,
can.
I don't have mine in. I know
The
we all
garlic,
said last week we would.
yeah, garlic, I mean, takes like a lifetime to grow. So if you plant it in early spring, plant it in an area where you don't have to pull it until fall or the next spring. That's for sure.
Well,
It
all I
takes,
know is I'm anxious to get them in the ground. I'm anxious for them to come up in the spring and get some of those beautiful scapes to make some garlic
Oh
scape
yeah.
yes.
pesto. And then,
Yum.
I'm really hoping that I'll have a successful enough crop that, if I grow 20, let's just say 20 off the top of my head, because it is a raised bed. If I get 20 beautiful heads of garlic, I'm hoping I'll be able to save 20 cloves and do it again next year. And so it'll be a perpetual thing. I'm really crossing my fingers because this is a new thing for me. I've not yet done garlic, guys. I'm a garlic newbie.
Okay, well, be patient. It takes forever. We planted last year in September or October. So that's why I feel so panicked. I feel like I'm late. And we didn't harvest until July, something like that.
Wow.
And too little, but I had a bunch of them, and so they're dried, and I've cleaned them off, and I'm cooking with them every day. I've still got quite a bit of garlic, even though they're small. I hope to cure that next time. And I understand that calzyme will certainly help with that.
Well, I'm going to
Yes.
be amending my bed today with my Kelzyme. So
Are you
hopefully
going to
that
calzyme
will.
the crap out of it,
I'm
Alicia?
going to Kelzyme the key wrap out of my garlic. It's just the only way to go.
I will say one thing, even with the smaller garlic, because I've done garlic once before, just once. It was not very successful. But even the small garlic has so much more flavor and taste
Absolutely.
than the
Oh,
giant
yeah.
you get in the store.
Yes.
So it's just delicioso and so good. So, Alicia, you're going to be a garlic aficionado
Well, here's
in
two. Let's
about 10
hope.
years when your garlic grows.
It takes forever, man. I am not a
I'll
patient
be
gardener.
I'll be like that little old lady on Titanic. It's been 87 years.
See, I haven't grown any either, so I'm like, okay, I tried growing last year and it basically rotted in the pot that I started out with. I tried so hard. It looked
Oh.
really good and then it
Um,
just died up. It shriveled up. So I'm really excited to try some this year too.
well, they kind of look like they do during the winter that they're kind of shriveled, but
Well, inside the ground, they shriveled up too because I was all excited. I'm like, "Ooh, they're dead on top. I'm gonna pull them." And yeah, it was trash. It was trash.
Wah,
It was bad.
wah,
It was so bad.
wah.
Well,
sorry.
like I said, I've got my dibbler ready. I'll plant them a little deeper than I'm supposed to, and I'll cover them up, and then I'll put all of the straw and the leaves and everything on top of them so
Yeah.
that they can set through winter. But
Yes.
once winter's done, and then that snow will melt and give them their initial watering. Miss Ann, how often do I water my garlic?
And they really, you can kind of set them and forget them. They really don't need a lot. Now, with a raised bed garden space, you don't want it to be, crispy with the soil.
We
Every
don't
now
want
and
elbow
again,
dry.
yeah, we don't want elbow dry, but
Oh,
just whenever you water other things in the spring or the summer when things get warm, but garlic needs very little maintenance. That could be why I only have small garlic though, so you don't want to really listen to me, but yeah. So
well,
it's
small
very little.
garlic's better than no garlic.
That's the
So
truth. They're mine, and
that's
I am
right.
eating them, and so I'm happy about that.
True that. True that.
I took my very last little clove from my neighbor Karen that I had purchased before from her. And I had purchased a couple heads from her out of her garden, and I was going to plant them. And it's like, nope, I need one, so I'd grab it and use it. And I never did get them in the ground, but I
Yeah.
used my very last one last night. And I tell you that music garlic, they're kind of like purple, so flavorful and big, beautiful cloves. And I put my last one in my tortellini soup last night. So I'm out of garlic. I'm going to put what I can put in the ground, and anything that doesn't make it in the ground today is going in, right there on the counter to use in some of my meals coming up over here the next few weeks.
Sure.
We all talking about garlic and all the things we're going to try. That actually leads us right into our episode from yesterday. We talked about all the trends, the trials, and the tribulations, all the things that we've tried over the past garden years or things on our homestead. And we had a really good discussion. I was listening to it, and it just reminded me of all the fun things we chatted about. We talked about the shade cloth. We talked about the
Right.
ground cover. Ground cover is a big deal for a lot of people. I don't use ground cover, and most of my co-hosts do, but we talked about all the things that worked for us and kind of the things that didn't work for us. And it was a really good episode just with the conversation that we're having. And so if you're interested in some different garden things that worked for us and maybe what didn't work for us, you definitely want to go check that out. But I feel like it was such a good episode to kind of hash some things out and to kind of discuss and share, because a lot of times you talk to people and they just tell you all the good that they did. Oh, well, this is
Mhm.
what my garden does. And sometimes people don't share what didn't work for them, and
Right.
there are so many different trends out there. But I like the shade cloth. That works for me this year. It was a new thing for me and I was really excited, and now I'm excited to try some garlic again and actually put it in the ground and not in a raised thing. So is there anything you guys wanted to share from our episode that you particularly liked? Miss Ann, what are you thinking? Do you
Well,
remember?
it was when it comes to ground cover in your garden, that is kind of a hot topic. And
It
we
is. I don't know why it's
it
so
really is.
controversial, but it
I
so
don't know.
is.
Some people really or feel very strongly about that. And I don't like weeds. I can't stand weeding my
Mhm.
garden, so I use it. And it was wonderful to be able to have other people, like-minded people, our panel here, that can share things that do work and things that don't work. I mean, there are people that don't like ground cover, and that's fine. And then Casey and I have different types of ground cover, and his works for him and mine works for me. So,
Well, I think that's what's really great about not only our podcast, but our little radio show that we come to you every Tuesday morning with is here we've got 4 hosts from 4 different walks of life, and we share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are not we are not the content creators that only show you the rosy side of starting your own little homestead. We try to keep it real. And,
that's right.
just in the intro, just in the beginning here of our show today, Ann Dale's like, I did garlic, but they're little. And Monica says, I did garlic and it died in the pot. And Case
Right.
is like, I want to do garlic, but I didn't even get it going. And here I am going, I have never done it at all, but I want to. I mean, we're being honest with our listeners. And so that they don't feel they feel encouraged to try. And B, they're not
Right.
discouraged if something fails because it really is trial and error
Right.
and you have the good times and the bad times and we bring them all to you so that we can be 100% honest and transparent with our listeners that it is not all sunshine and roses.
It is definitely not.
You have to keep, and we were joking, just a second ago, about 82 years ago I put my garlic in, it's going to take forever.
Right.
It's the reality. You're not just going to put something in the ground and have this beautiful luxurious garden like you see on some of the content creators channels on YouTube and such, or on Instagram. It's not all pretty. You have to have that trial and error. And one thing is it's important for any aspect of your life, and it's one thing I'm really trying to focus on right now is you may fall down 7 times, but what's important is you get up 8.
There you go. That's
And it
exactly right.
doesn't matter how many times you struggle with something in your garden. You try something different next time and you try until you find something that finally works. And you know what? If you get to the point where it just isn't going to work, that's okay. Your neighbor, it might work for them. And then you'll have a crop in your garden that you can trade out for the crop that's working for them in their garden. It doesn't have to be, no man is an island. We talk all the time about not being so totally 100% self-sufficient, but community sufficient. And
That's
this is
right.
where all of us lean on each other for these different types of things.
Right. Right. And I think that was so well put, Alicia, because I think a lot of people that go into the homesteading kind of lifestyle, a lot of them do it because of what they see on Instagram and what they see on YouTube. And they think that they're going to jump right in and everything's going to look exactly like it does on your favorite YouTuber's garden. But they have to remember that all of that was years of trial and error
Mhm.
and things that don't work and trying different trends. Um, such as the ground cover, the controversial topic. And I'll say why I like ground cover so much is the same thing for you and Dale. I don't like to weed. You
Right.
have you have 4 billion other things that you could be doing on your homestead in a day's period. Weeding is not really one of them, but I'm like, oh boy, let's get out and weed the garden. Um,
No,
so
thank you.
so really it's the ground cover saves my life
Yes.
on putting it down, burning the holes, and it's reusable. Now, I will say one thing that I ended up not saying on, I don't know why, but we shoot our podcast so far in advance. I forgot that I never said it, but be mindful on which ground covers that you buy because not all ground covers are made equal.
That's
I'm just
right.
going to say it. And you want something that is a breathable fabric that the water can soak into your soil. I decided I was going to be cheap and buy ground cover that basically just holds it in a puddle. That's what the ground cover does. It doesn't soak into the ground. So look at that before you get the ground cover and say, well, Casey and Ann Dale said that it was wonderful. Yes, it is wonderful if you get the correct one.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, I was going to say though, Casey, you and Ann both, neither one of you have young children at home. So weeding can work for us here twofold. One, I say, oh, you know what? I need to go weed my garden and then I can get away from everyone. Or two, I can say, oh, really? You didn't do what you were supposed to be doing? Oh, what? You're bored? You know what? I have something for you to do. And then go get in the garden.
Go
and
weed the garden.
I can either make it a punishment or I can use it as a reward for myself. I mean, either way, we can make this into a beneficial thing here. We're just all about perspective. All about perspective.
There you
over
go.
here.
That's true. That's true.
But
that's a good thing to remember for when I start with my children is it's a good punishment. Go weed the garden.
Yeah, and then they're going to hate gardening because that's what happened to me growing up. That's what I can't stand to weed.
That's what I was going to say.
My mother always made me go out and weed the garden. So that's why I was 60 years old before I had my own. It was terrible.
Well, then after you make it a punishment, you just teach them that it also can be a very nice quiet place where they can really enjoy planting. So mine plant enough too that they don't have to have it as a punishment. I don't actually think I've used it as a punishment, but I have thought about it many times that I should make them go out there and weed instead of complaining to me.
Not a punishment, but a reflection place.
Time for reflection. There you go.
Gather yourself and weed the garden.
Good idea.
That sounds good. I mean, yeah, to put it in a place where, okay, mom's put me here to reflect.
Instead of a timeout chair where they just have to stare at the corner, which was something I used to do with my kids. It's like, go out in the garden, pull 72 weeds, and then come back and we'll talk.
Alicia, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm like super stressed out and when you're walking around your kitchen, you have so much to do and you're just kind of like kind of feeling
daily.
I feel like standing and facing a corner gets me together because I get to talk to myself. And the good thing is it's just me. But I'm like, all right, Casey, get it together. Get your life together, man. So maybe not as much as a punishment as standing in the corner.
It's amazing
to reflect.
Our perspectives change as we age. That's for sure.
Right. Right now, I'm like, please, somebody put me in the corner, please. Yes, please.
Just give me a moment to get life together.
Well, that's just like my kids. They don't want to go to bed early anymore. And I'm like, please, I'm ready for bed. It's 9:00. Let's go. I'm ready for bed now. My children are like, no, we want to stay up late. And I'm like, oh, come on. Let's just go to bed. As I get older, my perspective has changed quite a bit.
Right.
Yes.
It's 5:00. It's time for bed.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All righty, y'all. Well, moving along, we are about to do some of our comment call-outs. And we're getting into the holiday season. Like, y'all, it's like knocking on the door. You know what's so funny? Mm-hmm. Before we get into that, I saw the funniest GIF the other day, and it was a scene with Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween, and peeking out from behind a tree was Mariah Carey in her Mrs. Santa Claus outfit. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was so funny because that's how it is with life. It's like Halloween and then we jump right into Christmas.
Right. I saw a similar thing, and it was the little girl from Poltergeist with her hand on the TV. And instead of it just being that blank TV like the Poltergeist is there, it was Mariah Carey in her outfit. And she's like, she's here.
It's
Christmas time.
And I mean, we're not calling anybody out, Eric Bland. But, folks are starting to decorate for Christmas. So these comment call-outs today are kind of sectioned around gift giving and holiday season and what to start doing to prep. So I'm about to press Alicia's favorite button of all time, and we'll get it in and we'll get it going.
It's time for
subscriber comment call out. Pew pew pew.
Who's taking this one?
I will say, I'll start it off briefly and then I'll pass it around here. But I was going to say, there are a lot of people, and I think the more we get into this world, and sometimes the more the darker it feels in this world, the more people want Christmas. and they want
Right.
the holidays. And so I don't blame anybody anymore. And I will say I'm a little grinchy about it because I have, Christmas up in my house like 3 months out of the year because of Eric. But
Yes, you do.
I see it very clearly now as the world is getting darker. People want Jesus sooner and sooner. So, you know what? Y'all put your Christmas stuff up and enjoy the holidays and
Amen.
smile
Decorate that
more.
tree. Yeah.
And smile more. So that's all I'm saying. So, what is something you make and give as gifts? This anonymous member posted this, and I think it's such a great question. And I will say, we love to make lip balms for our neighbors. We make a peppermint cocoa butter lip balm. We give them as
Yum.
gifts. We make little gift baskets for our neighbors. We make cookies and dipped chocolates, and we love to do that stuff. But some of these comments are amazing. I got so many great ideas. If you scroll and look through these, you can see all the wonderful ideas these people are making. And even the one I thought was really fun was sourdough bread with a jar of honey or jam with it. I thought that was such a cool comment. And again, somebody else said, love this question, really inspired by all the answers. I think it's amazing. Alicia, is there anything that you particularly can add to this? What would you make and what kind of things do you give as gifts?
Well, I have traditionally I'll make a jam or a jelly and I'll always, give out jams and jellies or homemade soaps or sugar scrubs. Sugar scrubs are so great to give as gifts in little mason jars.
Mm.
But, one thing I really want to focus on, I think this year is something I've wanted to do, never done it. I think we've discussed it in the past, is making your own caramel from the
Mm.
sweetened condensed milk in your pressure canner or in your Instant Pot. You can make your own caramel. Get that into a jar, and then you just pop an apple on top, and then you wrap the entire thing in cellophane with a pretty bow, and then you give it to a neighbor, and they have, apple to dip into caramel. It's just a really nice little treat for them to have, and it doesn't take a lot of effort on your end, but it makes them feel really good. And that's kind of something that I'm possibly leaning towards this year. I want to do the whole apple caramel thing.
I will
Wow.
say it's very easy to do. We did that last year for my kids, Awana teachers, their Sunday school teachers and things like that. We did give them, I believe it was last year or the year before, we did the little tiny mason jars, the smallest ones, the little half pints or whatever. And we
Mhm.
did the caramel in those because that's like the perfect amount for one apple. Like, I mean, it is literally the best little thing. And you just put the apple on top and it is the most amazing thing. And you have it passed out to all the kids' teachers. And everybody smiled. So it was really nice to see that. And it's kind of a fresh gift too, It's not all
Yeah,
that
and,
chocolate.
we do have a comment up about the fact that, making all of these great gifts is wonderful, but none of your family lives close by. What are you gonna do about all that postage? That's where I go then to my crochet stuff. I crochet the kitchen towels, the 100% cotton dishcloths. I'll pop those in the mail to my family for Christmas because those don't weigh quite as much. Yes, postage is still awful, but it's not as expensive as, a jar of jelly that weighs so
Right.
much. And they do have the boxes where, if it fits, it ships and you can have so much in that box for a flat rate. But I do like to do the stuff that's going to last several months for the family that lives far away. Now, I have done the jams and ghee and all of seeds and all of the crochet stuff. I'll do it in one big box for, each little family section that I send it to. Soaps. But boy, the postage, I get you. The postage was a lot, but nowadays it's gotten to the point where, yeah, I'm going to keep it on the lighter side with some of my crocheted stuff.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
saving the heavy stuff for the neighbors.
yeah. Worth's family, my husband's family, has gotten so large that, and we don't really exchange gifts on my side of relatives like sisters and so forth. Thanksgiving is our time to meet, and it is no presents. So for Christmas, we have a Chinese Christmas or white elephant Christmas or whatever you want to call it. And oftentimes there will be gift cards or flashlights or whatever. It's like a $20 limit, and you
Mhm.
bring a gift per person. And so, what I have done in the past is get 21s and made, like with the styrofoam wreaths, make a flower wreath out of the money and or a Christmas tree,
Oh, I love that.
something
I was about to
that's
say that is a
festive.
really cute idea.
And,
Yes.
so they're still getting $20, but there's some effort that was put to it, so
Sure.
Yeah, it's better than just an envelope of cash. I mean,
Yeah.
envelopes of cash are great, and I always welcome those.
They are.
But that's really fun. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm the type where if you gave me something really pretty made out of $21 bills, it's going to stay that way. I won't
Yeah.
send it. I'll look at it for a while. And
That's
that's
right.
nice too. It's nice too because then you're reflecting on the gift and the effort that the love that went into that gift. And
Sure.
I'll hang on to it for forever and think fondly.
Until you
So
need to get a little bit more milk from the store.
right until you right.
Well, you always got 20 bucks with you that way. You're never broke if you keep it around. So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go to the store with that wreath around your neck. And so you're
Good
shopping
time.
$1 at a time.
And
Hey.
$1, it puts a whole new spin on the dollar store.
The
Yeah.
No,
$1.25 store.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
dollar
Right.
25 store. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Inflation.
the 5 quarter store.
The 5 quarter
Casey,
store.
well, Casey, what about you? Is there something in particular that you have made or something you're thinking of making and giving as a gift this year?
I've done in the past, I've done different homemade gifts. And one thing that we did this year, and this isn't necessarily for Christmas, but we did it for my brother Chris and sister-in-law Tara's wedding, is we kind of did like a dinner pack to where canned veggies and potatoes, and we bought different cuts of beef and
Yeah.
pork from a local rancher,
Mhm.
and then we added it with some homegrown wine from a vineyard down the street from us.
Oh,
And a lot of the vendors at the farmers market where I sell at are trying to put like steak dinner boxes together for the holidays so that people can do just that. Support your local farmers and vendors by buying this box and then giving it. And it's an actually really cool gift to give to a family member of a complete dinner that's all ready to go. All you got to do is cook it.
right. Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think that's I know that I'd like one of those gifts. I just threw a dinner party at my house a couple nights ago, and it's so funny. Who are homesteaders and who are not homesteaders that come to your dinner party. You know what I mean? Because when you bring a hostess gift, and the hostess gift is like a venison roast, or
Yes.
the host
Yes.
gift. The host gift is one of my persons, y'all, and I was going to say this off of our show. As a host gift, I got one of those life straws.
Awesome.
I was like, okay,
wow.
you're a homesteader when
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
You get
give
prep.
these kind of prepper gifts is what you get as the host gifts. But yeah, think outside of the
love it.
box this holiday year. Think outside. Like, how can you help your family members stock up their pantry or stock up their freezer or
That's
stock up
right.
their bath supplies? So
Yeah.
I challenge you to do that this holiday season.
Yeah. Well, that's what we have done for the last 2 years for the kids, for our children, which are adults and have families of their own and can purchase anything that they want to because they're doing better than their parents. Yay, thank you, Lord. But we have a local market, a local butcher that they have packages of meat where you can get hamburger and roast stew and chicken legs and chickens and blah blah blah. And we purchased them a package. I separate it up in like 1 pound sections and freeze it so that they can pull it right out of the freezer for a meal. And we freeze it. So when they come, they each get a cooler that has all this meat in it. And we give them a box of my home canned goods. So they've got meals for a few weeks.
I love that.
Exactly. And that's one thing that has been on my list and I haven't done it yet, but it is one thing that I do want to do. For my kids that are local, I've got 2 boys that are local here, and maybe I'll go ahead and start putting the wheels in motion this year. Is I have wanted to do a 5-gallon survival bucket for each boy. And
Mhm.
in that 5-gallon bucket, have everything they need in case they have to go grid down. And it's just a little emergency pack. So it'll have some of my meals in a jar. It will have some vacuum sealed spices and seasonings. It'll have some vacuum sealed little candies for comfort, paper plates, plastic
Yeah.
silverware, just in case they find themselves in a grid down situation. And I think some of the stuff that I want to put in this 5-gallon bucket is stuff people don't think about. It's nice to have all of your your meals in a jar or this ready or that ready. But if you don't have anything to eat off of,
Right.
it doesn't do you any good. So, I mean, I'd like to put a little Dutch oven in the bottom, put 2 or
And
3.
Alicia, don't give too much away because remember we have that wonderful podcast episode that's coming out
Oh,
next
it's a
week
teaser.
yeah, it's a teaser. You're just
It's a
teasing like a little carrot.
teaser.
I
But
love
that's
that
something
idea.
I want to do. Um, and I did have something else I wanted to share. Now it just kind of flew out of my head because I realized I can't share too much because I like to. But I like to share food as much as I can and just make sure that your loved ones have what they need in case they're. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It is one thing that we've done for a couple years now for our family, and this is really good for those of you who are saying, I don't want to ship something because of the price of postage. And this is where I put my grandma hat on. This is something my grandma would have done, and I know that in our 20s we would have rolled our eyes, but now I get why she did it. And it's not necessarily homesteading, but if it's for your family member that isn't necessarily into homesteading, and it's something you want to do, for the last 2, 3, 4 years now, we get each of our kids and their spouses, we get them a roadside assistance package.
Oh,
And it's good
Cool.
for the whole year.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
that way, if my daughter-in-law is driving with my grandbabies somewhere and she runs out of gas or has a flat tire and my son can't get to them, I know that she has the availability to get some help.
you get like a AAA membership for them?
Yep. I get that. That's
Oh,
I
that's
didn't that's what I get.
awesome.
Yep. I get
Yeah,
the
that
AAA
really is
membership
a
for them.
really good idea.
Oh, my
And
gracious.
it lasts the entire year and I can renew it every year if I want to. And I just have that sense of mind, that peace of mind
Oh my gosh,
that
I'm doing that.
my children and my grandchildren at least have that reassurance that if they break down on the side of the road, all they have to do is pull that card out and call. Where, maybe they wouldn't have had that on their own insurance policy. Maybe this is a backup to their insurance policy, whatever. I just know that I've taken that, whatever, $50 and I've put it towards something that maybe they'll use, maybe they won't, but at least the assurance is there. If I send them, let's just be honest, if I send them a crocheted kitchen towel and dishcloth, they may or may not use that either. And then I have the postage, and then I have to worry about, gee, when I visit, it's not hanging up on the stove, and maybe they didn't like it. This I know is at least it's good for their personal well-being, and it just gives me that insurance and assurance that I've done something to help my children and grandchildren. So that's
So
what we do.
fabulous.
And I will say, Alicia, your crochet canning mat, I use way, way, way too much because it's starting to look like a napkin that was used to clean a 2-year-old's face.
Well, honey, you're just going to have to work on that crochet that I taught you, and you're going to have to learn how to make one.
There you
I
go.
know, I know.
Well, I will add to Alicia's. She said, she got the AAA. One of the things my mom and my dad have been doing for years, because we have lived farther away now for about 9 years. My mom is really good, and my dad too, are about giving. Because my sister and I both homeschool our kids, and we're both, obviously in Texas, and they were in Maryland before. They were giving us like year-long passes to the zoo, or like the
Yeah.
parks, or the
Yeah,
museums.
yeah.
And they were doing that for us because as homeschool parents and homeschool families, we would be able to get the maximum amount of usage out of them throughout the year. And my mom
Right.
was like my mom was like, great, now there's a way that I can participate somehow in that learning and the kids. And that's something that, I have roadside assistance on our insurance plans. All my kids already have that part of it. And my mom has already asked for that years ago. Do you have roadside assistance? And I was like, oh yeah, we have that. But, we go to the park and we love going to the zoo, but it gets really pricey. It
Yeah.
really gets
Mhm.
expensive for us, especially with large families, multiple
Yeah.
children. And if you buy a family pass for your kids, it's something that it's been really nice over the years to say, all right, kids, my mom, got us a family pass to the zoo, and we can go anytime we want. And going multiple times a year pays that right back right away.
Yes,
And
indeed.
Right.
it's really nice. So if you have family that lives farther away and they have small children, those passes are so amazing, and they work so well for large families or any type of families that take their kids to those places. And it's really nice because it's not a toy or an electronic.
Right.
It's a thing that it's an experience. And so those experience gifts are really awesome too. But I really like the AAA thing. I think that's awesome. And
Well, that's exactly what Sarah has asked. My daughter has asked all of us to give are either musical, because she's homeschooling now. Both my
Mhm.
grandchildren, all my grandchildren are homeschooled now. And she's asked for musical instruments
Yep.
or a pass to whatever,
Yes.
a water park, a zoo, a
Yeah.
museum, any of those things, which
Yep.
is
Yeah,
fabulous.
that
Yeah.
really is.
Indoor trampoline park would be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
Any of those places,
Oh,
those
yeah.
experiences, just look for the places that are local in the area. I will say that I like the museum ones because a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, before we moved here, when we were traveling to Texas the one year for a visit, I actually got a a museum pass that was reciprocated all throughout the entire all states. And so we were able to go to like 4 or 5 different children's museums on our trip down and back.
Wow.
And it was so awesome to be able to go. And I didn't pay for anything extra because it was already paid for in one lump sum. And because that museum pass reciprocated, I could go to a museum in Kentucky and in South Carolina and North Carolina and the same. And then I could still go to it in Texas or Maryland. And it was
Wow.
amazing. And I
That's
didn't have to
so
pay all this
cool.
extra money because I was already traveling. So it's really nice to do it like that and to get those gifts for people with younger kids or,
That's
so that's a
awesome.
good one. Well, leading into another comment, call it, I think, Casey, want to talk about gifting. It's time for
Do-do-do-do.
Subscriber comment call out. Pew pew pew. And this is another comment call out from Styx Cartier.
Cartier.
And that is looking for ideas on Christmas gifts for my husband. He is a corn-fed big old boy, right there with him, in the Army. He'll be in for another 7 years. We both agreed we start gifting resources such as tools or reading materials. If there is something you suggest that isn't reading, great, but must have reading is welcome also. So kind of back into the last comment call, and it's like gift ideas. So
But more manly related. She's wanting more
more
manly and
Yeah.
intellectual.
Yeah.
manly related for a corn-fed big old boy. Just reading it. First of all, thank you for your service. But what do y'all think, ladies? What do y'all think gifting ideas for a corn-fed big old boy?
Well, I don't remember if I saw any of the comments on this, so if I'm stealing a comment from it, forgive me, but somewhere recently I have seen a great gift for a gentleman on a homestead or proposed future homestead. And it is a handheld, almost like chain that you use as a chainsaw,
Oh,
but
it's
it's
in the
hand.
comments.
Mhm.
Is it in the comments?
There's a picture
I
of it. Casey's
okay.
scrolling down. Keep going. One more. There it is.
There.
Woohoo.
I'd never seen that before. I thought, dang, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I have one
It
of those on my list. I
It's
love it.
compact, it's small, it's gonna be handy in an emergency situation. I mean, let's say that you have a storm that comes through and you can't get into your workshop where you might have a chainsaw, but you've got this stored somewhere separate, and you can get that out, and you can get some of those big branches that have fallen on top of your workshop out of the way because of it. That's a great thing to have. It's a great thing for camping. It's a great thing for those who like to go out into the backwoods and go camping or hunting. I mean, what a great thing if you've got, like, say, a deer hunter in your family. Let's say big old corn-fed boy is a deer hunter, and he takes that with him so he can clear brush and get to where he needs to get for his deer stand, or assist him getting a branch out of the way to get his deer stand up in a tree. And you don't want to take a chainsaw out into the woods if you're going to set up your deer stand and make all that noise. But that little thing, yeah, it's going to make some noise, but that'd be a good thing. And said the vegetarian who's advocating deer stand. But I'm just saying, I think it's a great thing to have. I really liked it when I saw that, and I'm so glad it was in those comments because I didn't know where I came up with that.
Well, it looks like she said he does hunt fish and they go out, kind of on the range often. So that's kind of really good. And a lot of people suggested those, pew-pews there. They suggested doing that too. Things that are going to last longer. And I think that's
Freedom
great.
seeds. Freedom seeds. You
There
gotta
you
get
go.
them now before they get hard to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some really great ideas in all of this. And do you have anything to add for, maybe a manly man gift?
Well, I always go with Bass Pro.
There you go.
Bass Pro gift cards, which is
Let them get their
terrible.
own thing. Let them pick out
Yeah,
what they really want.
that's right. My husband loves that. And so does both my son and son-in-law. They both love Bass Pro. And so, it's like their Disney World.
Yeah.
You could get a you could
They're
get a life
Disney World.
straw. You can get a life straw and just put the gift card on there, like in a candy cane holder. Instead of a
There
candy
you
cane,
go.
There you
it's a
go.
life
Yes.
straw and the gift card and say, and a lunch card. A lunch card. Here you go. Go to Bass Pro Shop. It's your day today. Lunch is included. Go buy what you want with the gift card. Have some lunch. Stop
Yeah.
off at a dirty, mucky stream on the way and try out your life straw. And I'll be here when you come home. That sounds like a plan to me. I'll do that.
Okay. I like that.
Well, I think there's some great ideas too when you talk about like the
Yeah.
Backwoods Home Magazine. You
I
were
was
looking at
just
that,
about to
Casey?
say that. Oh,
Yeah.
Goodness.
Okay.
We
But
love
I
our
think that
internet.
that's a good one too. They have a lot of really good information on how to run your homestead. But that's a great magazine to have.
it really is. It really is. And I got it when I first moved into the homestead, and every single edition that comes out um, is something that we've either talked about on the podcast or on our morning show. And you're
Mhm.
like, it's like the magazine is listening to me.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'm hoping.
fermentation.
I'm hoping they're listening, and I'm hoping they would be willing, since we're talking about them, to send all of the co-hosts of our show today a subscription. Wouldn't that be lovely? Look at me working it.
No.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it really is a great magazine. I don't know if I necessarily would pitch it down for a corn-fed big old boy. But
Well, he likes reading, though. She
oh,
said
he likes.
he
Oh,
likes
yeah,
reading.
that's true. See, okay, see, Anne was paying attention more than I was.
and
No.
one thing I want to point out to our original poster of this, who's asking about stuff for her husband, she's in our Facebook group, and in our Facebook group, if you go to the files, we have a member of this group who has just done a great job of downloading or uploading, whichever way you want to say it, tons and tons of reading resources in the files of our Facebook group. So, Foxfire and things like that. There's all kinds of stuff in the files that can be perused,
amazing.
and you could even print some out and make him his own little book or whatever.
There you
There's a
go.
lot of stuff. I mean, look at that checklist for camping supplies. There's all kinds of stuff
Checklist
there.
for a dog bug out. That's cool. I never even seen that one.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff in there that our member has put in there for us. So thank him. I can't
That's
think of his
wonderful.
name off the top of my head.
W.M. Coolidge.
Yes. He has just been great about sharing all of his stuff that he's got, his resources. And when we first opened the page, he was like, "Can you approve this? Can you?" And I just gave him the approval. Just you go, son. Load it up with all of these wonderful resources for our members. So that is a great place for Styx to go look. Her name is Styx, for stuff for her husband, because all of that is available to you. And it doesn't cost you anything there either. You can print him out and make himself his own little
Yeah.
checklist notebook. Oh, that would be a great gift. Actually print them out, put them in a binder with labels, actually breaking it down. Maybe he has it, maybe they have a dog. And you wouldn't know what to put into a bug out list for your dog. Now, most people who have homesteads, they're going to plan on bugging in. But in the rare case that you have to bug out, what if there's a fire? You can't bug in if there's a fire near your home. You got to bug out. You have to have these things
Yeah.
in place. And so I never thought about a bug out for our dog. I've got plenty of stuff here prepared for us, but I do not have a specific bug out bin for the dog. So that is a great thing to have in that list.
That is such a great idea. And I mean, I totally see. That is why we have Alicia, who's in charge of like our Facebook life, because I had no clue that was even there. And now I'm going to go today and download and print every single one of them to put in a binder. So
there we go.
There we go. And ta-da.
Ta-da.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I really like that idea. That's really smart. I mean, I didn't even know. I mean, I knew that a couple of those things were there, but I had no idea there was that many. That is really exciting.
Yeah,
That
he's
is
been
really exciting.
He has been really great about sharing those resources. So thank you so much to him.
And we really do have such a wonderful group of subscribers that are in our Beginner's Homesteading Guide group, that we are over 67,000 plus strong like a big corn-fed big old boy. Yeah.
that likes to read. Oh, I'm glad we've got the resources, and I hope our members will. If you're not a member of the group yet, come on over. There is some member questionnaires that you need to fill out to get approved into the group. But it's not like we're asking for an arm and a leg and a pint of blood or anything. It really is just making sure you are who you say you are. We'll get you into the group, then you have access to all of those wonderful files. And then we really appreciate it if you are, involved in the group. Post comments or post original posts if you have questions or ideas. And then when you see that somebody posts something that pertains to something you're interested in, comment on it, share your knowledge. That's what it's all there for. It's there for all of us to learn and grow from each other and have all of these wonderful resources. And speaking of, I think if Casey can find it, we do have one more comment call out, and it's about sourdough because that has been a topic lately. We have
and this person is actually, we've had her comment on 2 times before, and her post started as she couldn't figure out what she was doing wrong on her sourdough start.
So do we have a doot to do, and we'll lead into it?
Yes,
because I have to have the doot to do.
Well, we always have a doot to do, so
do the doot to do.
Don't worry.
It's time for
do.
Subscriber comment call out. Pew pew pew.
My Tuesdays are not complete without that.
Without the do's. But no, it's Robin Courtney Marlin. And we've had her a couple times on here. And this is kind of like, you always feel like a proud parent when you're going through these comments in our Facebook group. And the person that you start knowing their names started saying, help, I need help on figuring out how to do this. And then a month later,
oh, it's beautiful.
10 p.m. That is so beautiful. That's so
wonderful growth on that starter.
And she's changed her lids a couple times, because we had some comments from people about the lids and that kind of stuff. So I think it's Robin, you go, girl.
And this is one of those things
too, though. It looks like it is almost. I wonder if she's using wheat flour now because it looks darker.
It does look darker, and this is one of those things we discussed earlier. It's not perfect out the gate, and this is the whole topic of our podcast was the trials and the tribulations, and the successes, and we've had several people in the group that have had those trials where it's like I'm trying to do this sourdough and it's not working, and everybody has come together as a collective who have had ideas to help Robin and others work towards becoming successful with their sourdough starters. And we've got members like Robin who have not given up. It's hard and it can be defeating, but she's not given up. And they're coming back and they're sharing. It's like, look, I did it. And all of us can give her a pat on the back and say, job well done. Because now she's an inspiration to somebody who right now might be struggling. And they can see that it is attainable if you just keep trying. So I think that's wonderful. Santa agrees.
My goodness. That is so funny. That actually scared me a little bit because I was like, what is happening right here? That was like all echoey and it was very
you know what's crazy is like when you're trying to be a really good like behind the scenes person and find like some applause to do because it felt like an applause moment, and then Santa sneaks up.
Santa pops up and makes us all piddle our pants.
Oh, there's a dad joke in the YouTube comments. I think John is feeling in his dad's today. Did you want to read that one, Alicia?
Oh goodness. Do you
leave it to Alicia.
Right.
I'll
and
ask
this is
Alicia to
just,
read it.
We're in November, so this is just right after Halloween. But friends, do you know why monsters don't eat ghosts? Don't you? Do you know why? Because ghosts taste like sheet.
Yes.
Oh, and that's just going to take me right into my tongue twister. Oh, great.
No.
Santa was like, that was like a one of those golf claps. Like, yeah, that was good, Alicia.
That's the dad joke there.
But it makes me think the word sheet. Here's the tongue twister. I want everybody to practice. This is going to be our tongue twister call out. I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit.
I will not practice that one.
I will not either. You are not getting us to do that on national radio
But I challenge people to
broadcasting.
practice it. Listen, I want our listeners to try it. It's actually from the movie The Jerk. I learned it when I was like 12 years old. I watched it over and over and over again when the big discs first came out. Those big, huge Blu-ray discs, the ones you'd have to turn over to watch movies.
Yeah.
My friend's dad was a doctor, so they had all of the trendy stuff when I was growing up, and she had that. She had The Jerk on disc, and we watched it over and over and over again. And so we learned the tongue twister, and we also learned the little ukulele song, and we would sing that too. But I learned that tongue twister when I was young, and I say it all the time. I can say it without messing up and saying the oops word. It's a lot of fun though. So one more time, I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit.
Very nice. That's very good.
I've never come across anybody else that can say it without the
Yeah,
oops word.
I'm still not doing it.
I will
I'm
not.
still not doing it on national radio show.
Oh,
It
it's all
will
I
not
want for
happen.
Christmas. It's all I want for Christmas. So here you say it.
It will not happen here. I could not say that. I guarantee you.
Yes, guarantee it will probably never happen, listeners.
I'd like for our listeners to put in the comments, can any of them say it without slipping up on their sheets? That would be an interesting thing.
Well,
to
Very-
but don't slipping up on your sheets. I mean,
know.
that pretty
That's a
pretty
different
much gives it
podcast.
away.
Oh, what else have we got, guys? We've got about 8 minutes left. Miss Ann Dale, she has slipped out on our podcast here because she has a Tuesday morning show on her YouTube channel. So when we're all done here, not yet, don't leave us yet. We've got a few more moments with you. But when you're done, head on over to Ann Dale's YouTube channel, and she's got her Tuesdays. She gets
Tuesday.
yeah. See, I can't even say
There's
that.
another tongue twister right there. Try to
Right,
practice
it
that, Pat.
is. It is. But she's got that little show that she puts on Tuesday mornings. That's a great place to go over and visit. Casey, you have things on Monday nights. You have a Monday night chit chat on your
Yes.
YouTube channel. Monica gets together with Eric every Thursday evening,
Thursday, yeah.
and they get together. I used to come out on on Wednesday mornings for a coffee time. I haven't done it lately. I'm going to get back into it. I've been focusing on some other things lately, but I'm going to get back out to doing some lives. But, come on over and pay me a visit too. I don't want to feel like the redheaded stepchild here that doesn't have a live every week. But
you got to just jump in. You got to jump back in full face.
I know I do.
Well, I think it's everybody's season of life they're in too. Remember, we all
Yes.
have
Right.
different seasons that we're in, and sometimes you're able to do so many more things during some seasons. Some seasons
Yeah,
are busy
you have
for
to
them others.
prioritize. And right now I've just been prioritizing on my personal life. I've been prioritizing on me and not so
Yes.
much my live shows. So, but we all have things that we have to offer our listeners if they want to head on over to our YouTube channels and show us a little love. And we love it when they come here for our Tuesday morning radio shows here on Hey Y'all Hey, because we just love
do.
spending the mornings with them. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys, see if you have something else to add, because I can talk forever.
Well, I was just going to say that, especially with the holiday seasons coming up, we have tons of fabulous holiday episodes that we have already pre-recorded that will be coming out to you on our morning show. And next week is kind of a big week for us here on the podcast. We've kind of got jolted into shooting a impromptu podcast about Prepper's List. And that will come out next Monday. And then we'll be doing a Prepper's kind of like list on what to have in your prepper pantry or prepper 5-gallon bucket or whatever it is you have your prepper stuff in radio show next Tuesday. So I know we're all kind of really excited about that. Our prepper episode, our prepper. I'm going to say prepper one more time.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you say prepper, but whoever's out there, don't be afraid of the word prepper
Yes,
because
don't.
it's really just really about being ready, being prepared for whatever comes your way. We're not talking about the apocalypse, about the, Jesus coming down with the soldiers. We're not talking about the end of days, the final wars. We're talking about like just emergencies. We're talking about natural disasters. Like prepared
Right.
is so important. And people get so scared or they're a little bit off put when you say prepper sometimes.
Right.
Whenever I say prepper, it's one of those things that I don't want to say that I'm necessarily a prepper, but I do believe that we should always be prepared as much as possible. We need to be mindful of there's so many things that could happen in this world. And whether it's your husband or your wife or you, whatever it is, losing a job, or, you get so much snow that you're stuck in your house for, 48 hours with no electricity, or you have, like Miss Ann and Casey have more of the hurricane issues where hurricanes come up the coast and you may
Right.
be without power, or you have flooding that's happening. You have to get out of your house. Whatever it is, being prepared and having those items ready is really important. And, that's really one of the things we're going to talk about, because if you have those items and you know where to get those items and some of the things that other people are using, then maybe it will spark some ideas for you. And I think
Yeah.
that's the best part about getting together as four of us, because the more we get together and discuss these type of things, the more it's going to spark conversations with others, and we're going to learn from one another. So, definitely come back and listen to what we've got to say, and maybe it'll, spawn some ideas in your brain. And then you can come back the following Tuesday and share with us, because we want to know what you have and what you want to share with us to be prepared.
Well, yeah, because,
Well said.
weather, like you said, weather, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the snow, sometimes, like I said earlier, there are instances where people have fire, but that's coming. There was a time where I had, I don't know, 10 or 12 family members here in the house, and all of a sudden, boom, no electricity. No reason for it. And we found out later that 3 miles from us, somebody had a car accident and took out one of the power poles. And we didn't have power for 3 days because it took that long for them to get that line back going. And so I wasn't prepared. I didn't even know where my candles were because we had just moved here on the farm, and I've got all these people. Nobody knows where a flashlight is. People are grabbing their cell phones, so at least they could have the cell phone for light. But now I know exactly where my headlamps are. I know where my blackout box is. I know where I have stuff where I can be prepared to at least get the situation illuminated and get everybody safely off the farm. So it doesn't have to be something that you're actually actively thinking of, because I would not have been sitting here going, gee, if I lose power because a car takes out the transformer, I need to know what to do. You don't think of those things. It's just not always up at the front of your brain. So it's good to have something in place for those times where you just don't know what the unexpected is going to be. So, having said that, we all know what's expected now. We're coming up on 10 o'clock, and that means it's the end of our hour with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. We love it when you spend your Tuesday mornings with us. And don't forget, if you didn't get the podcast yesterday, head on back over. You can find it on Apple. You can find it on Spotify, other places. There's our QR code right there if you're watching. Hit that QR code. It's going to take you to all the links for the podcast. You can listen to yesterday's episode. You can listen to all of our prior episodes, and then put it on your favorites so that when the next episode drops, it's there. They always drop on Mondays, 9 a.m. Central. Having said that, we'll see you next Tuesday for our next Hey Y'all Hey radio show at 9 a.m. Central. Until then, we want you to have a wonderful week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Oh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central.
Are you enjoying the Hay Bale topics? To learn more, click on our Linktree link to get all our product recommendations, along with discount codes and more.